I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but...
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
You really don't know anything about anyone? Well, thanks anyway.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
You see, I'm looking for someone here.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice, aren't you?
I am a novice. At least until I find the man I'm looking for.
Why would you be looking amongst monks? You know, the laws of man aren't valid here. In the cloister, we're subject to divine law, the law of the church.
I'm looking for a footpad who's hiding out here in the monastery. He had a hand in raising the Neuhoff farm. He's taken many lives.
I heard something about that. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you could help me. It has to be one of the other novices.
That can't be. Have you told the prior? What are you going to do to this man once you find him?
Talk to him. Then I'll see. Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I don't know, and I don't care to know. I wish you'd never told me. Now I won't be able to sleep at night.
Will you tell me something?
I
mean, where you're from, what sort of life?
I'm a novice.
You see, I'm looking for someone.
You're looking for someone?
I am a novice.
Why would you be looking?
I'm looking for a foot...
I...
Because you could help me.
That...
I don't know yet.
It won't be easy to drag this criminal away from the protection of the cloister. Unless the abbot gives his blessing. But I still can't believe it.
Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I don't know, and I don't care to know.
There's something I should tell you. Something secret. I'm looking for someone here in the monastery.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice, aren't you?
I am a novice. At least until I find them.
Why would you be looking amongst monks?
I'm looking for a footpad who's...
I...
Because you could help.
That...
When I find him, I'll kill him.
Hail Mary, Mother of Grace. Go away. Go away. Leave me alone and never speak to me again. I don't want to hear such terrible talk.
Calm down. I'm not going to kill anyone.
I should hope not. I don't believe there's such evil in you. But why are you telling me all this? What do you want from me?
Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I don't know, and I don't care to know.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing.
I mean, where you're from, what...
I'm a novice, and
You see, I'm looking for someone.
you're looking for someone?
I am a novice.
Why would you...
I'm looking for a footpath.
I...
Because you could help me.
That can't be.
When I find him, I'll...
Hail Mary, Mother.
I need your help. Do you have any ideas who the footpad could be?
Go away! You frighten me. You're the devil incarnate. Go away. I don't want to talk to you.
I've heard some unsettling news. I've been told you've lied about who you are the entire time you've been here. What do you have to say about it? Who are you really?
Brother, you've no reason to worry. I'll explain everything. I did join the monastery in order to find someone, that's true. But being here has opened my eyes. I want to become a monk. I am a monk. I've taken the vow, haven't I?
If what I've heard is true, then your vow is invalid.
I swear, I did it for a good reason.
I'd like to believe you, so tell me, why did you come here?
It's true that I'm not who I say I am. I'm not the young Lord Carl. He ran away and sent me in his place.
Why would you agree to that?
Money. I was drowning in debt, and the money from Sir Carl helped my family stay afloat. Carl never wanted to become a monk, but Father, I found peace here in the monastery. It's better for me to serve God here than continue my life of sin in the world outside.
Thank you for your honesty. Because you've told the truth, I'll forgive you for deceiving us. Continue to be an exemplary monk, and I promise I'll forget about what's happened. Well, unless someone from Sir Carl's family intervenes, then I'll have no choice. I'll have to deal with the situation.
Thank you for your kindness, brother.
Peace be with you, brother.
Not now, brother. After Mass. This is not a good time for questions, brother.
The Rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on Humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarm, for the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet
I'm Gregor and I'm
his
new
word
here.
will not be acceptable.
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm a cicada.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I was mute and was humbled and kept silent.
About you in the election. Will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good habit is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
For that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility.
I'd like to help you if I can.
Inspired by reverence. But as for coarse
There
jests
is
and idle
something you
words or
could
words
do.
that move to laughter,
I'm convinced Nevlas must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlas is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
times in manual labor, and again at fixed hours in sacred reading.
Once I find something out, I'll tell you.
The times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October. When they
Thank you
come
for
out
answering.
from time in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th,
I'd like
let
to
them
ask you
apply
something about the
themselves to
monastery.
reading.
Who's in charge of things around here?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
And then we elect a new one.
Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
Well, it was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time. But then the order was restored and the brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away, and their books burned.
But as for coarse jests and idle words or words...
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the cicatas. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about whom I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot,
praise be to Christ, brother.
His disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and
what would you like?
By his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intent.
I'm looking for something a little unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
And other bodily punishments, knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words.
And what is it, brother?
Beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
You have some interesting skills for a monk. I suppose you want to tell me how you picked them up.
What's there to tell? We were all young and foolish once. I was a student in Prague, completely broke, living from hand to mouth and studying all day. It wasn't an easy life.
So you turned to stealing.
I set about securing a livelihood as best I could. A goose, some new shoes, a bit of coin to spend with my friends. Without that little bit extra, I'd never have completed my studies. I would have turned into a beggar. And who else do you know that can say he's serving God thanks to having been a thief?
No one, brother. Thank you for telling me your story. Brother, I've a favour to ask, and I think you're the man to help me with it. Or you used to be, before you came here.
I see, so it's the dodgy sort of favour, is it?
Well, yes. I need to get hold of the keys to the monastery.
That won't be easy, I can tell you that straight off. The prior always keeps the keys close by him. So how exactly do you imagine I could help?
Could you take the keys off him?
Rob the prior? You've got to be joking.
You wouldn't be doing it for free?
Then what could you possibly pay me? I'm done with my thieving, and you'd have to offer me a whole lot of groschen to change my mind.
How much would you want?
A princely sum, brother. This is no trifling matter.
That much? Where am I supposed to find that much coin? No one here has any money.
Precisely. But no groschen, no theft. And think twice before you ask me that kind of favor again.
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I need to get hold of some kind of weapon.
Well, I can't help you with that. And besides, what use would a weapon be in here?
I need to get some wine.
You're not the only one. But I have to keep records of all the casks, and the prior checks on them. He'd notice any loss straight away. Just like our food, everything's rationed. So I'm sorry, but I'll have to disappoint you, brother.
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks?
What's it to you? Do you have some or not?
Peace, brother. There's no need to get all worked up. So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as I'll trade them for free.
For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if a disciple obeys with ill will and earns, not necessarily
Talk to me, brother.
simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth.
You've got a strong constitution. Anyone else would have certainly died.
What happened?
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy. He was lost and miserable. He had no future. He was tempted by his friends into doing some foolish things, but he wasn't truly bad, because when it came down to it, he ran away rather than keep doing foolish deeds. His former friends didn't take kindly to that, though, and wanted to punish him. So they sent a hunting dog to find him and rip his throat. The boy wasn't stupid, though, and he knew that the hound was coming. He poisoned some food, and when the hound showed up, he gave it to him. He didn't expect the beast to live, but it did. And all of a sudden the boy was sorry for what he tried to do. So he offered to make a bargain with the hound.
I think I understand you. But the beast would need to know what deal he's being offered.
You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhoff. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhoff made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. And what exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
You're right. But the people who sent me will find out if I don't kill you.
They won't if we're clever about it. No one has to die. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it, all the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list, and when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow, that sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Getting the keys won't be easy.
I know, but Brother Salarius is a reformed thief. I'll bet he still has a few lockpicks lying about. If you know how to use them, they'll be worth finding. Or there's the hard way. Steal the keys from the prior. He carries them with him at all times.
They both sound hard to me. But needs must. All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
Brother? What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working somewhere? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? Fine then. This time I will forgive you. But next time you'll be punished, just like everyone else.
Cease this disgraceful behavior.
What have you done now?
What's the meaning of this? Have you been possessed by an evil spirit?
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
now they hurt again, but worse than last time. I'll tell you.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
Don't move a muscle.
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself. Especially the part about the coin.
Brother? Stealing is a sin. You should know that as a Christian, and certainly as a monk. Even if I wanted to forgive you, I couldn't. Thou shalt not steal.
Very well, brother. I accept my punishment.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate anything that is not allowed in the monastery.
While I was locked up, someone was making quite a racket in the cellar. Blind drunk, I'm sure of it. I wonder what's been going on.
Peace be with you, brother.
Not now, brother. After Mass. Not now, brother. After Mass.
Not now, brother. After Mass.
Go away. I don't want to talk to you.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile and a new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
What can you tell me?
Oh, I'm surprised.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
I'm interested in Lucas.
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself. If you ask me, he's got something to hide. I'd keep well clear of him if I was you.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circuitous who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
I have no idea. Why don't you ask Brother Librarian?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. Who are you, though? Oh, it's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
You mean his not going to morning prayers?
So you noticed that too?
You've got the wrong end of the stick. That has nothing to do with anything.
You think so? He definitely acts like a criminal. Who else would it be?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
What are you going to do to that fellow once you find him?
That's not your concern.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it, not act on your own.
I'd like to ask you something. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Stop, Gregor!
Because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the godlike.
Brother? What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working somewhere? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? Fine then. This time I will forgive you. But next time you'll be punished, just like everyone else.
For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and burns, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his words will not be accepted. Sees that his heart is burned, then work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without fear. This is the virtue of those.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm looking for some...
And what?
I'm looking for...
Lock pick?
I'd like to
Just for... What troubles you?
I'm looking for some...
And what?
I'm looking for...
Luck?
What's it to you?
Peace, brother. So you heard I'll trade them.
Let's talk about the plot.
Well, we can...
Described as follows. From Easter until the calends of October.
What about this?
From prime in the morning, let them labor
A nice sum.
wherever is necessary.
Just lower your demands a little and...
And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to read.
Very well, I agree.
After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. Or if anyone may
What troubles you?
to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness and at the same time not to overburden them.
What troubles you?
I'm looking for some...
And what?
I'm looking for...
Luck?
What's it to you?
Peace, brother. So you heard I'll trade them.
Let's have a word about the price.
Well, we can try. All right, so. What do you desire?
Brother,
I see. So it's the dog.
Well, yes. How could I get hold of them?
With great difficulty. Unless you want to rob the prior.
Is there any other way to get out of here?
The door out of the monastery is like any other. Only the lock's more complicated than most. But I can sell you some lock picks. And with a little training, you'll make short work of it.
There's something else on my mind.
Brother, remember the vows.
I'm looking for some...
And what?
I'm looking for
lock pick.
What's it to you?
Peace, brother. So you heard I'll trade them.
Let's have a word about... What do you say to this?
That's not enough.
I'll go for that. I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nevlis, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that, they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help. What do you need me to do?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the libri prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Salarius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Salarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Nevolis, vote for Nevolis"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them.